The Flipside of Board Games is sponsored in part this month by Peacekeeper Games, publisher of the puzzly game Gearworks. Take on the role of budding inventors intent on proving your mettle. Play your gears carefully as clever card placement helps you control areas of the board and reward the parts you need to build fantastical contraptions and score points at the end of the game. It's an interesting marriage of steampunk and Sudoku. A special bundle is currently available on their website, which includes a free deluxe playmat. And a new Kickstarter campaign will be running from March 12 to 31, 2024. Go check it out. All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. I certainly appreciate it. Today is Monday, March 25th, and it is 2:03. I'm 3 minutes late. Dadgummit. Dadgummit. That's what happens when you leave me all by my lonesome and expect things to get done. Zexto is here. Hello, everyone. JT is here. What's up, JT? Good to see you. We just got through recording no less than 4 lists last night. JT and I, we recorded 2 bottom 5s and 2 top 5s. So those are going to be coming up within the next couple of weeks. We had to do that because JT is headed to the Agora for Tabletop Opinionated Minds in Missouri this weekend. So we're going to be loaning JT off to the Atom event, and he's going to be there this weekend and basically doing some hobnobbing and rubbing some shoulders with some other content creators. He's going to be representing the flip side of board games this weekend, so we appreciate him going to do that. But who are we kidding? He's going to have a blast. We are the ones that are going to be suffering in his absence. So there you have it. Let's see here. Tom is here. Hello, Tom. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Zexto is here. Good to see you. Travis Hoopfer is here. That's okay. I just got here too. All right. Super duper. Appreciate that, man. Bushman is here. Have a fun and safe trip, JT. I don't know if JT's actually in the chat anymore. He probably is, but he's also, I think, at work, or he's working from home and he's busy. He has a lot to do before he heads out on Wednesday, I believe. Around the house, and he also has a 9-to-5 that he does, so he's chock full of things to do. So that is good to see, and I appreciate his willingness to represent the flip side at the Atom event, because it looks like it's going to be a super fun event. It's got people from, it's got Alex Radcliffe, it's got Professor Meg, it's got the Man vs. Meeple group. Jeremy and David are going to be there. Connor, I almost said Connor Geeky. Oh, that's not the right word. Let's see. I still have the papers over here. I can go ahead and just read them off. Why do I have to trust my brain wavelengths to get in there? So basically, it's run by Queen Games, Eagle Griffin Games, and Inside Up Games. So basically, that's what's going on. He's going to be at the Atom event. Who is going to be there? Well, strap in. It's a long list. Randall Lloyd and Jason Grants from Eagle Griffin Games. Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Travis Reynolds, James Ferris, and David Gilligan from Queen Games. Board Game Garden, Jenna Beasley. Inside Up Games, Connor McGooey. That's where I was going with the Connor Geeky. Connor Geeky is a hockey player, not Connor McGooey. Chris Walters and Brandon Knoll from Inside Up Games. Derek and Lizzie Funkhauser. I'm going to miss seeing Derek. Board Game Spotlight is going to be there as well. Danielle Stendring. Nelson Oliver. JT Turner from the Flip Side of Board Games. Professor Meg Oak. Kovray Studios. Ilya Ushakov and Tyler Murray. And then Sarah Meadows and Melissa Delp are going to be there from Tantrum House. Man versus Meeple is sending David Waybright and Jeremy Howard, and then Chris Whittapan is also going. Whitpan is also going to be there, not Whittapan. I messed up that name. I apologize. So, the Atom event, Agora for Tabletop Opinionated Minds, is looking like it's going to be quite the event. So JT is going to be doing that for us. Let's see. He is a great addition to the channel. He absolutely is. So thank you for that. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. It has been a day, and I really haven't even got a whole lot of work in. I did work a lot yesterday, which is abnormal. I usually try to take Sundays off for family stuff and for church and that kind of thing. But I've got basically 3 videos that have been kind of waiting in the wings to get edited before they can go up on the channel. So yesterday I spent the day editing the top 5 games we've never played for no good reason panel that I did at Dice Tower West with myself, Bree Goldman from Arcane Wonders, marketing manager for Arcane Wonders, BJ Shea, who runs Geek Nation podcast. He also has a radio talk show on KZOK over in Seattle, KZOK over in Seattle. So he's a radio personality as well. And then I also had Brian Wade. He is a friend of mine that I met last year at Dice Tower West, and we hit it off, and we just kind of like a kindred spirit type of thing going on there. And we've done some things here on the channel, amateur painting hours on Friday mornings. And he runs his own channel called Gaming with ADHD on YouTube. So the 4 of us did our top 5 games we've never played for no good reason. I got that edited yesterday. It was successfully rendered. The computer is telling me now. So I'll be able to upload that. I'll probably have that go up tomorrow in between the other 2 videos that I have going up tomorrow. Or I might wait until Wednesday and put it up. I don't know. The other 2 videos are a couple of videos that JT and his daughter did while she was in town, and I was out at Dice Tower West. They did his daughter's top 10 games of all time, and they also did an unboxing of Divinus. So I'll be putting those up here on the channel as quickly as I possibly can. It'll probably be later in the week before I can get those up and ready. But because I worked those hours yesterday, I kind of took the morning off from this. I still did some things for the channel, and that I shipped Tom's shirt out to him. That's one thing that I did. But I also had to do some other things. I had to take the kids to school, and Mondays are late start, so it kind of cuts into the rest of the day a little bit more. Had to do some grocery shopping. A couple other errands here and there, but been filling out some forms. Jesse and I are city group leaders for our church. Had to fill out a couple forms for that. So I've just been doing a hodgepodge of stuff this morning. So I haven't been lounging around. I don't want you to think that I've been doing that, but I've been not doing as much for the channel because I did put in those hours yesterday. And why do I keep? There we go. The microphone cord keeps wrapping around the bottom of the chair, and it keeps tugging on me, and I don't like it. So there you have it. So let's see here what we've got. Travis Hooper. Just trying to make sure. How many different games do you feel you need to play a week to keep up with what you need to do for the channel? Well, it just depends. Hey, Lewis, good to see you, Spurs fan. It depends on what we need to do for the channel. For example, like this week, I've got a prototype card game that Jesse and I have been playing that I need to kind of get ready. We're going to be doing some more games of it today and tomorrow, so that I can be ready for a review of that on Wednesday. So that has to be played. So I want to get at least 2 or 3 more games of that game in before I play it. I think for me, especially for a card game that doesn't have a lot of rules, which is what this prototype is, I need to play at least 3 or 4 times before I really have the ability to understand it. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. I want to get as many plays of it in as possible. So Jess and I are going to be playing that a lot. I'm probably going to bring the kids in for it a couple of times as well so that they can understand it. And that gives me another chance to teach the game. I need to teach the game as much as I can. So that's probably going to be happening. But it really just depends on how many, what I need to do. At the beginning of the week, I'm really going to be doing things that don't require a whole lot of preparation. For example, this video is just kind of like a chat. It's kind of like a live Q&A, but it's more like a chat of, I let you guys know where the channel's headed this week and that type of thing, answer a couple questions, make a couple of talking points, that kind of thing. But really, there's not a whole lot of preparation for a video like this. Same thing for It Belongs in a Museum. That's largely just me taking a couple of games that have been on my shelves for a while, taking them down, going through them, explaining them, talking about them, why are they in my collection, talking about, showing off the components and that kind of thing. Not a whole lot of stuff needs to go on there. The live plays, of course, I have to know how to play the game so that I can at least teach the other person that's involved, Jesse being the case on Tuesdays. So there's some preparation there. But as far as how many games do you feel like you need to play a week to keep up with what you need to do for the channel, it really depends on what we're doing with the channel any given week. Like, for example, there are just certain games that I normally can't get played without help. Anything that requires more than 2 players, I have to have help from other people to get that done. I can't do it by myself. Now, I can teach myself how to play the game and play 2 people at the same time, or play 3 people at the same time, whatever. I can do that, but in order to really understand the game, I don't think that's the human element plays into, in my opinion at least, how a game plays out. And when you have one person running really more than just their own, you've kind of thrown that human element out the window, because I can't make the same kinds of decisions that an opponent would be able to make, not knowing what I have in my hand. Because if I'm making those decisions for them, I know what I have. And I know, and even if I'm consciously trying to make the effort of making decisions, that's still substandard, because I'm still trying to do the best I can at mimicking not having all the information when I do have all the information. And that's substandard, in my opinion. So in order to get games played, I have to have help from other people. And that's not always possible, which is why I'm really on the hunt for games that I can play by myself, which is really strange. This is new territory for me, because I'm not doing that out of necessarily a personal desire to do that. I'm doing it out of a business necessity, because I can't always expect people to, in essence, drop what they're doing or drop what they were planning on doing because they've been working all day and now they want to take a break and just kind of veg out. Instead of doing that, I can't expect them to be at my beck and call. You know what I'm saying? So how many games? It just really depends on what we try to get, what we're trying to get done that week. And often what I try to get done that week will be determined almost backwards by what I have been able to get played and what I have not been able to get played. Thanks so much, Strider. Oh my gosh, dude. Be glad you are on the other side of a camera right now. My eyes are starting to water a little bit. because goodness gracious, Strider, my man. Oh, it stinks in here. Oh my goodness. I apologize. Brian Sanderson says, thanks for the plays of and coverage of Path of Civilization. I picked up a copy and I am punching and sorting now. Very cool, Brant. That is one of the games that I've been really taken with since I brought it back with Dice Tower West. That's going to be reviewed pretty soon because I feel like I do have a pretty good hold on it. So you're very welcome. Really what that was, and I know it's not, it kind of, the number of games we cover on the channel kind of took a hit with us doing so many videos of Path of Civilization. But what that basically was is that you guys were tagging along on my journey of getting that played. Because I played it 4 players at Dice Tower West. I played it 2-player with Jess, both on and off camera. So I played it 2-player twice. Then I played it 4-player again with JT and Mel. So that is 2 4-players, 2 2-players, and then I also played it solo mode. So I played the game 5 times, which is above my threshold of, and again, it's an arbitrary number of plays that I should probably get under my belt before I review it. The only player count that I missed was 3-player, and I don't know that the difference between 2 and 4 is going to be the difference in the 3-player between either the 2 or the 4-player game. I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference anyway. So I'm not going to really worry about 3rd player. If it comes into focus where I can get a 3rd player and get it played before I review it, then I absolutely will. But I'm not at the point where I think I need it to before I review it. Hey, Sam, Bob Rock says, solo gaming, once you get used to it, is a brilliant activity. Well, I totally get that. I totally get that. It's just not that I enjoy it as much as I do playing a game with other people. I am much more of a community-centric, community-based personality, I guess you could say. I want to be other people. I'm not an extrovert. I don't know that I'm an introvert either. I'm somewhere in between, which is really kind of strange, I guess. But there are days where I very much feel like an introvert, and there are other days where I feel like I have to be an extrovert. So, I don't know. I much prefer playing games with other people as opposed to playing them by myself. I much prefer the one over the other. That's not to say that I don't enjoy solo play. I just prefer one more. Have you tried Maple Valley yet? I have not. I don't have Maple Valley. I don't own it, and it hasn't been sent to me, so I can't try it. But I was able to play a couple weeks ago and enjoyed it. Cool beans. Zexto, did you see or could try out Bloodstones from Martin Wallace? There is a solo in it too, but did not try that yet. I have not tried Bloodstones from Martin Wallace, no. I'm pretty much a solo-only player, Bushman says, so any assistant I can be, here I am. Thank you, I appreciate that. I just hit my tooth with the edge of, my goodness, I left a dent in it. Well, I guess I have good teeth that are crooked, but they're good. That's the best tasting pickle I ever had. All right. Let's see here. All right. So what do we have coming up on the channel? Well, a couple of things that we're going to be doing. I think, and I don't know that it'll start this week, but I think Tuesdays are going to turn into a Throwback Tuesdays kind of thing. Now, I know it's Throwback Thursdays. I know. Please.
I'm taking a hit on, and this is something that's kind of happened to me throughout. I take a hit on what I name things, what I choose to name things. Please give me a break. I get it. Like bottom five, people are losing their minds because they're confused. They think it's going to be the worst 5 games of the year when it's not. It's just the bottom half of our top 10. And we do the top half on right here on the flip side. I know I shouldn't pay so much attention, but I read comments and I respond to comments, and it's a nuanced joke. That's all it is. It's just a nuanced joke. I know it sounds like it's going to be the worst games of the year, but it's not. And so, anyway, Throwback Tuesdays. It's supposed to be Throwback Thursday, but Thursdays are taken up with solo plays, and Jessie doesn't have off on Thursdays. Tuesdays, she does have off, Tuesdays and Fridays. And so we're going to start doing in the near future, maybe even as soon as next week, older games that I haven't taught Jessie yet that I think will work well with 2 players. That's what I think we're going to be doing, so that we have a day in the week that's kind of reserved for old games. In the mornings on Tuesdays, we'll take a look at, it should be in a museum, so we'll take a look at a couple older games, and then Tuesday afternoons, we will play an older game, whatever it might be. And so that's what I'm thinking we're going to be doing here moving forward. So that gives you an idea of what to expect. I don't know for a fact that it's going to be that way next week. I am, see, Fighters in the Pacific is staring me in the face. It's a 2-player game, and I need to get it played for the Dice Tower. So that's staring me in the face. Invasion Free State, staring me in the face. Those are all 2-player. Invasion Free State is a 2 to 4-player game, but Fighters of the Pacific is a 2-player game. That's staring at me in the face for tomorrow. But again, I haven't really read the rule book, but it doesn't have a very long rule book, so you never know. But anyway, that's something you can kind of think about later on. Bottom half to the title. I don't like it. Bottom 5 just has that punch to it. Bottom half 5. Top half 5. Ugh. Ugh. It's just not pithy anymore. But there you have it. Did you see, or no, I already read that one, sorry. Bob Rock says, I prefer playing games with other people, but life, family, job. Yeah, I'm with you. And solo gaming feeds might need to play board games every night, which when everyone is asleep, I fire one game solo, challenge my brain a bit, and that's that. That's cool. Gut Punch Tuesdays. No, sorry, couldn't resist. We're not going to go with anything that says punch in it right now. Love the idea of playing older games. I do too. They are cheaper to buy, usually, unless they are some type of Grail type game. Older games are the way to go. I'm phasing off the YouTube creators as there are only newer games nowadays and I'm losing interest. Yeah. Okay, geez. The penultimate 5. The penultimate 5. Yes, you have to say that with a slightly annoying British accent. No, we're not going to do that either. I'm going to stick with bottom 5. Bottom 5 is the way to go. And usually what we do is we try to give at least an explanation. I don't want to insult people's intelligence. I don't want to sit there and explain it to them, spell it out every single time. How about this last one we did? As kind of a joke, because last week was talking about that title with a couple of different people. So the 5 bottoms. Just turn it around on them. Yeah, that's good. So I had a pretty interesting thing here. This is kind of off the cuff. I have a friend of mine that lives over in Europe, Lillewich, that her and her husband Tom, They are great board gamers. I met her a couple of times at Essen as I was with the Dice Tower. Her and her husband both came by and said hi and met them. And we've just kind of been friends ever since digitally. And they're always going on these hikes through like the Ardennes. And I'm like, oh, I'm so freaking jealous. I'd love to be able to go over there. They drive by these like World War II memorials and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous. But anyway, those kinds of things. They actually picked up Pequeno Non Olé, the poop game. After we played it online, they found a copy of it. They bought it and they've been loving it. And it was missing a couple of the... well, it was missing all of the the cards that I can't remember the name of it. It's the cards that basically it was another way for you to win the game. Get your, you get all the way up to the top of this card, and that's another way to win the game. Anyway, she's making those cards basically from scratch on a website that she uses, and because the copy that they bought had everything in it except for those cards. So she's making those, and she was showing me to them. Same time, almost the same time that she sent me those pictures, another friend of mine that I met at the Gathering of Friends, Les, he is showing me his like totally mocked up version of what is it? Of let me get it here. Les Chung, and he is doing a game based on the game Chariot Race, and he's done this to a number of different games before. He's giving it a Star Wars theme. So it's Chariot Race, that's the game, and that's the track that they use, but it's speeder bikes on indoor. And the pictures are freaking amazing. But I just thought it was cool. Right before we started this, two of my friends from like two different parts of the world were showing me how they are basically making their games a little bit cooler in some way, shape, or form. I just thought that was a neat little thing. Wanted to share it with you. So that's pretty cool. The Flipside 5, Zexto says. Well, that's another thing. I guess I'm just too nuanced because that's what I was doing. That's kind of the idea that I had, is that we do the bottom 5 here, and then on the flip side, we do the flip side of it, the top 5. And so, I don't know. I put too much thought into things, I guess. I think things too much. I think about things too much. I read too much into, I don't know. I'm sure it's my fault. But Kaylin Burton says, "Hey Sam, missed saying hey to you at Dice Tower West. Hope you had a blast. Was your panel filmed?" It was, Kaylin. We did film it. I just was talking a few minutes ago about how I finished editing it yesterday, and it's probably going to go up either tomorrow or Wednesday, one of those two, and that will be coming up here pretty soon. I've just got to get it uploaded. It's rendered, it's edited, it's rendered. I just got to double check it for typos because I make a lot of typos. I may have to re-render it if I do catch some of those typos. I think one of the last typos that I made was I said that a game was 1 minute long. I know how that happened because usually I put in, 60 minutes or 20 minutes or 120 minutes. And I'm sure when I'm typing it in, because the keyboard on my other laptop is like shot. I mean shot. Whenever I hit the space bar, it goes twice. And then it puts a period in there. A is shot. I is shot. O is shot. All of the vowels are on their last legs. And so I've really got to replace that laptop, but funds are just not there yet. So that's going to happen as soon as I can get it to. But right now, typos are my bane, my complete bane, because that stupid keyboard over there, I'm not that great of a typist. I will be the first to admit that. But I usually don't make that many mistakes and usually catch them as I'm making them. But it is what it is. Vanessa Gerten is here. Hello, 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 Vanessa. Good to see you. What did you miss? You missed nothing. Nothing at all. That's not exactly true. You missed me saying that Tuesdays are probably going to turn into the one day out of the week that I'm going to focus on older games. We'll have Jess and I play a game. We'll do a live stream of an older game on Tuesday afternoons. Tuesday mornings will be all about the It Belongs in a Museum series. And so Tuesdays will be all about older games. And then the rest of the week, it'll be other stuff. Sam sang the national anthem? Nah. No, I didn't. Zexto, get a PC to hook up to the laptop? No. I don't think I'm going to do that. No. Nope. Not going to do that. Are you going to do anything special for April 1st? Maybe. Because Jess will be home. Because she has off that day. Because the center is closed on April 1st. So I'm not going to do anything April Fool's-y for April 1st. I am not a fan of April Fool's jokes. I think they can be cruel sometimes. Because usually the best way to get somebody is to tell them that they're going to get something that you know they really want. And then you say, April Fools, and their heart sinks. And I don't like doing that kind of stuff. So we're not going to do that. But we might do something special. We might have some kind of, we might do some type of gaming or something like that on April 1st. And enjoy that. But no, I'm not a huge April Fool's kind of connoisseur. Some of them are funny, don't get me wrong, but, and I don't mean to be a spoil sport, but or a stick in the mud, whatever you want to call it. I just, you never know how it's going to really affect somebody. So I try not to do it. Turn back Tuesdays. Ooh. I don't know. Maybe it's just my really bad sense of humor, but I love turning things into, like, instead of Throwback Thursdays, it's Throwback Tuesdays. It's not right, but it's funny. And maybe I just have a messed up sense of humor. Maybe that's what it is. I did just find out today that I may be getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning this Sunday. Our church is having their Easter service at the Town Toyota Center, which is where the Wenatchee Wild play. So we've kind of rented out the entire thing, and we're going to try to fill that up for Easter service. But the Wenatchee Wild have playoff hockey games on Friday and Saturday. So we can't get in there to set up for Sunday morning when the doors are going to be open at 9:45 until 4 o'clock Sunday morning. So that's going to be fun. The tech crew supervisor that asked me to come in, he was like, yeah, I think I need another camera operator, so I'm going to be doing a camera, but I also need people helping out, and I think you're a fun guy to hang around with, so I want you there. And I'm like, I don't know how fun I'm going to be at 4 o'clock in the morning there, Keith, but okay, I'll be there. Yes, sir. Then you need Taco Thursday. Well, that is another thing. Yes, I just pulled a nose hair because it's been bothering me. See, I don't know sometimes, and this is TMI, I apologize. I really do. I shouldn't have done that on camera. But sometimes my mustache hair kind of curls up and goes into my nose, and I have to do that. And then sometimes it's a wayward hair that begins to protrude. And no, it's bugging me. Anyway, at least you know I'm transparent. 4 a.m. sounds fun. No, it does not, Thomas. No, I mean, a normal keyboard would solve the problem of the keyboard on laptop being a pain. I know what you meant, Zexto. I just don't know that I'm going to it would be a solution, right? But then I'd have to. It's an Apple. It's a Mac, so I'd have to find a keyboard, and Mac keyboards are not cheap. So I guess it's cheaper than a new laptop. That's for sure. I'll look into it. So yeah, that'll be something I look into. Sam sing the national anthem. Yeah, I don't think so, pal. Let's see, what else? My calendar is way over there. I already talked about. I'm going to be doing a card game review for my live review this week. I don't know what I'm doing for my Dice Tower review. I'll figure that out today and get it shot tomorrow. But I've got a Dice Tower review coming up on Wednesday as well. Those reviews on the Dice Tower are showing up at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, so 1 p.m. Pacific Time now. They changed my slotted time. So both Wednesdays and Fridays, my videos will be going up at 4 p.m. on Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time, both days. It used to be one was at like 3 p.m. and the other one was at 1 p.m. and they switched things around. So those are going to be different nowadays. But I wanted to let you know that. Is Easter going to be a sunrise service? 4 a.m. is insanely early. No. 4 a.m. is so that we can set up for the service, because we're doing it at the town Toyota Center, which is the local arena where the indoor football team plays, and the basketball team plays, and the local hockey team plays, and where the concerts are, and all that kind of stuff. So we're having our Easter service there. So 4 a.m. means that we're going to be setting things up, getting the audio ready, setting up all of the speakers that we have to use. So we're providing the audio, I believe, because we know how to work with our audio better than having to learn how to work their audio. I believe that's why they're making that decision, but that's complete supposition. I don't really know the answer to that question. So we have to get in there and get things set up and get things ready to go. So we've got about 5 hours to do that. So that's part of what Tech Crew is all about. So I'm looking forward to serving, and I'm looking forward to Easter service. I'm just not looking forward to get up before, being up at 3 o'clock in the morning so I can be there ready to work at 4. But it is what it is. What about the creepy Japanese game? That's coming. That's coming as well. Sitting right over there. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if it's cool or not. I haven't actually read the rules for it yet, but it does not look that involved at all. So it should be a pretty quick study. So I'm going to go get that thing. Well, I don't know. I don't know when I'm playing solo yet either. I was just thinking I need to go get my calendar, but I know what I've got. I just don't have those games kind of penciled in yet, so not sure. Love hockey and was curious, are there seedings with the tournament? The Wenatchee Wild are the 4th seed. And we will be playing, I believe, the 5th seed in the first round. I believe that's what it is. I could look it up real quick. Let me do that. Wenatchee Wild standings. WHL standings. There we are. Okay, so we are part of the Western Conference, and we are the 4th seed. We had 72 points. Third place was 95 points. So that kind of tells you we were at the top of the bottom of the barrel. Third place was 95 points. Second place was 101, and first place was 102. So the Prince George Cougars came in first place for the Western Conference. The Portland Winterhawks were second place in the conference. Everett Silvertips was third, and the Wenatchee Wild was fourth. So we are going to be playing. The 4th place team plays the 5th place team, which is the Kelowna Rockets, I believe. So that's pretty good. But I think Prince George plays Spokane. Portland plays Victoria. The Portland Winterhawks plays Victoria Royals. Everett Silvertips are going to take the Vancouver Giants. And then Wenatchee Wild plays the Kelowna Rockets for the first round. So it's going to be a pretty even matchup. Kelowna Rockets were 71 points, and we were 72. The only difference there is that we won one more game than they did. And they had a shootout loss. So that's, wow. We are super even with them, so it's going to be a good series, it looks like. Looks like they were better on their power play. We were better at penalty kills than they were. And we had 53 less penalty minutes than they did. Goals against, They had 10 fewer goals scored against them, and we scored one fewer goal for ourselves. They had 250, we had 249. Goals against, we had 268 goals scored against us, and they only had 258. Win percentage is 52.9 and 52.2. So really, I mean, it's a really close matchup. So it looks like it's going to be a good series. I'm really hoping that we pick up both of these wins on Friday and Saturday, and then at least one in Kelowna, so that we can come back and win it here at home next week. But we'll see. But that is that. Is there any significance to the symbols you chose for this Flipside logo, the basketball, the light bulb, for instance? No. No, there isn't. As a matter of fact, the gentleman that made our logo for us has just been a fan of mine ever since I was with the Dice Tower, and he's followed my career, so to speak. And just out of the blue, he sent me this logo. And I was like, that's pretty freaking awesome. I really like that. There's not really a whole lot. I don't know why he chose a basketball. The basketball is the one thing out of all that other stuff that doesn't quite fit, but it's okay. It's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind the light bulb either. The light bulb, I think, is a cool symbol of the lights coming on and the enjoyment factor and all that other kind of stuff. But everything else is pretty cool, you know. But no, I didn't choose any of this stuff. And this is a product of me not getting in the way, because I probably would have been too overbearing if I had hired somebody to do this. But I didn't. He just said, here, I did this for you. It's what I do for a living, and I made it for you. Use it or don't use it. And I was like, holy crap, that looks cool. So I'm going to use it. Thank you. So whether he had any significance, I don't know. But I definitely did not, because I didn't have any input in it. But I'm very thankful for it. I think it looks great. Yep, Strider did show up. Did you have a favorite moment of Dice Tower West? The missus and I played Thunder Road Vendetta for the first time. So much fun. that was, let's see, a favorite moment of the Dice Tower West. I'm going to have to say that, now, I do want to provide a caveat here. I had a great time at Dice Tower West. Tom came at the last minute. Tom Moore, our moderator, he decided to come at the last minute because a buddy of his from the UK, Danny, was able to come at the last minute as well. He had some health issues, and the doctor was telling him he shouldn't go. Those health issues cleared up enough to where the doctor gave him permission to travel, so he was able to come. And so Tom decided to go at the last minute, and I actually got to play a lot of games with Tom and with his buddy Danny, and that was just a cool thing. I really enjoyed that. But there were a lot of high points in the entire week. A lot of those were moments that I was able to teach games to Tom and Danny and other people. I got to play a game of Blood Rage with them. Got to play Champions of Midgard. Got to teach them how to play Gnar. And that all happened in one day, so I had a whole day of nothing but Viking games, which I thought was a pretty cool thing. So there were a lot of moments there that had a lot of staying power as far as up here. I got to play Memoir 44 with my buddy Patrick, and we played a breakthrough scenario, and it was one where you had to get 12 points in order to win, and it came down to the wire. He won 12-11. And so normally what you would do is you would then switch it around, play the scenario again, and whoever has the biggest differential, but we didn't have time to do that. Instead, we played Votes for Women, which was from Fort Circle Games, and was really fun. Patrick played the opposition, and myself and another gentleman played the suffragists, and we had a great time playing that game. It was just a really cool game. I'd been wanting to play the game because I'd been hearing a lot of positive buzz about it. So I wanted to play it, and I was very happy that Patrick was able to teach it to us. So that was a high point. I was Isaac and Bardmaid Games were able to be there as an exhibitor, and that was kind of their launch for the company. And I had met Isaac at PAX Unplugged, and we were able to spend a couple hours before our flight leaving Philly just playing games, and I was able to strike up a friendship with him and seeing... Oh, be quiet. Sorry. So being able to see him succeed and to see his new game Expressions get high marks from the Dice Tower crew, that's been fun to see. So I was happy to see him there, and I got to play one of his new prototypes that was really fun. So that was a cool thing. There's so many different things. If I must narrow it down to one thing, I think my highlight from the entire convention was probably on Sunday morning after the worship service with Tom was great, and I had a great time doing that as always. But and I didn't really do anything; I just attended and listened to the sermon. But after that, Roy and I were finally able to sit down and play Dune: War for Arrakis, and I forgot how much I enjoy playing games with Roy. I really did. I forgot. I mean, I know we have very similar tastes in game. He likes some of the heavier, crunchier type games, but he also just likes that Amerithrash thematic enthrallment. And to be able to do that as the last thing I did, and literally it was the last thing I did. We jumped up from that because he had to go do something else, and I had to get to the airport. So it was literally the last thing that I did at Dice Tower West, and so that was a pretty cool thing. But really, if I must, I'll pick that one thing. But really, there were so many different high points throughout the entire course of the week. I loved doing the panel with Bree, BJ, and Brian. Loved doing that. Loved just attending some of the other events that the Dice Tower crew was doing. Loved being part of the game night, the game on the first night game. Loved doing that. That was really fun. Me and Joey were just, kind of providing color commentary and just cracking up, having a good time. And the whole thing was great. But if you want me to pick just one singular event, it's probably doing War for Arrakis with Roy on Sunday. Les Chung, Les, your ears were burning, man, because we just was talking about you, brother. Thank you for becoming a Chester Copperpot member. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Instead of a basketball, it should be a hockey puck. I know, Michael. But it's okay because the basketball, that is my least favorite sport. So I think it's kind of funny that it's on my logo. So that's cool. We're doing things on the flip side. So my least favorite basketball, my least favorite sport gets to be prominently displayed on my logo. That's how we do it. Let's see here. Who do you think has the better goalie? Sounds like it might come down to goaltending. Well, here's the thing. Our first string goalie got hurt with a groin injury about halfway through the season. And the last half of the season, we've been, and I don't mean stuck. Brendan Gee has been doing a great job stepping up to the plate. But I think Hauser was he was already comfortable and he was doing a great job, and then he got hurt, pulled his groin, and he was out. Goalies and groins that's a tough spot. It's really hard to be a goalie when your groin muscle is acting up or tender. So. But Brendan stepped in, and and he's been doing, just like any goalie, he has his off nights and he has his on nights. And when he's on, he is awesome. When he's off, it's rough. And we're playing with a lot of good people. A WHL is good hockey. So it is what it is. But yeah, I think goaltending could very well be the absolute determining factor. But on the other side of that, a lot of our guys have been stepping up. I think Kenta Isogai, he needs to step up and start scoring some goals again. He's been having a little bit of a dry patch, but he still has some assists. One of our captain and best defender, Graham Sword, just signed a contract with the Avalanche, so he's going to be gone next year. But he's set the record this season for most points scored by defensemen, most points by a defender in the entire league. So at 81, I think he has 81 points. So he's doing pretty good. Let's see here. Tom gets to go to all the cool conventions. Was your game of Champions of Midgard better this time? Yes, it absolutely was. And that's because I didn't try stupid stuff that I shouldn't have tried the first time. But yeah, definitely enjoyed it. Vanessa, it helps living close to where the Dice Tower has most of their events. Well, except for Dice Tower West. Come on, man, you flew across the country. But yeah, you do live in Florida where most of the events are held. What did I miss? Not much, Leslie. Just that we were talking about you. How have they modified the War of the Ring system for a War for Arrakis? Are they different enough to own both? I usually don't answer those kinds of questions, Leslie, because whether you want to own both games that are basically use the same system, that's really down to what you want to do with your money. I like it better because it doesn't have that pesky rule in it where the good guys have to wait to attack after they've been attacked. It doesn't have that. You can attack as much as you want, whenever you want. So in that vein, Roy says that it is very much like War of the Ring, but that one difference, if it were the only difference, which I don't think it is, if it were the only difference, it would make it much better than War for the Ring, in my opinion. Let's see. If your team has a good, solid defense, they can shut down the other team. Well, we have a good first string defense, and we've got a decent second string, second line. Our third and fourth lines for defense our guys are just small. It's not that they're not good. I want to make sure that's clear. Our top line defense, Prasovsky and Sword, if they could, I wish they would be on the ice the entire game, because what you just said is absolutely true. But our other lines, our second line has a couple of medium-sized guys in there, and then our third and fourth line has basically four small defenders. They're good defenders, but they're just small. So it's hard for them to really kind of stick it out like a defender needs to more often than not. Yeah, that's part of and that's kind of what I should have said this earlier. That's kind of what I was meaning to say with Brendan. It's not all his fault. There have been a lot of goals that have been scored on us that Brendan had no way of stopping because our defense broke down in front of him. So it's just the way it is, but absolutely. Derek S., did you lose any games when you moved away from Florida? Was it a challenge to move your 400-game collection? How many boxes did it take? I don't remember how many boxes it took. I want to say that I had it anywhere from 15 to 20 medium-sized boxes. And I think that's pretty close. I think 15 might be more accurate than 20. I think it was closer to 15, but they were medium-sized boxes. Not all of them were medium-sized. Some of them were small. I think the bulk of them were small, but I had a number of medium-sized boxes as well. I'm from Florida, and we used to say we don't have hockey because all the players drown. Can't say that anymore. Nope, you cannot. What reaction do you usually have when people outside the game community hear how many games you own? It's funny you said that, because I just watched a clip of Grant Lyons. He's a comedian who's also a board gamer. He actually has his own YouTube channel, and he makes great content. He actually has that as part of his stand-up comedy. He asks people, he goes, how many games do you think would be too many? They're like 25. And he's like, oh yeah, 25? That's like so many games. What about you? 50. Yeah. You're probably thinking, I'm going to go for the maximum. Like, that's way too many games. Guess how many games I have? Yeah, 400. And he's like, try mentioning that on a first date. He's a super funny guy. My delivery is nothing compared to his. But let me put this. I usually don't lead in with, hey, by the way, I've got 500 or 400 board games at home. What do you think about that? I don't lead up with that. Usually when people ask me what I do, I just tell them that I'm a YouTube content creator for board games. And then they go, well, what does that mean? And then you basically just tell them, well, we do playthroughs, and we do reviews, and we do Q&As and all of this kind of stuff. And we put that on YouTube and people watch it. More often than not, we don't get into how many games I own. There have been a couple of times, and of course the eyebrows raise, and they're like, "Whoa," you know. But we have a group of people from church that come over for our city group on Wednesday nights, and that's been fun because I don't have to tell them what I do. They just come into this room and they go, "Oh, wow." You have a lot of board games. So I usually don't have to talk, but usually it is some derivative of shock on their mind, in their eyes and in their face of, oh my goodness, should we be afraid? You know, that kind of thing. But more often than not, people are pretty gracious and they're pretty down to the point where they are. I think COVID did a lot in changing people's diagram of what earning a living looks like. Earning a living used to look like leave the house at 8 o'clock, arrive at work by 9 o'clock, stay at work until 5 o'clock, be home by 6 o'clock, and you know, that's what was earning a living. But now I think with COVID having, for better or worse, forced a lot of people to work from home, and a lot of companies have found out that, oh, you mean I don't have to pay rent on this multi-million-dollar building anymore. I can just have my employees work from home and save myself a ton of cash. That has put a different mindset in people's minds about what it looks like to work for a living. And working from home doesn't raise as many eyebrows as it used to, even 5 years ago. Yeah. Oh, so you are crazy. Yes, absolutely. Let's see here. The Florida Panthers are really good this year. I haven't been keeping track of the Florida Panthers, but I used to watch them when Roberto Luongo was with them, and he's a great goalie. I usually pay attention more to the goalies than the forwards because I used to play goal. Yeah, those are good. Hey, Sam, Kabuki is here. Good to see you. Hello, Kabuki. Good to see you. Oh, so you are crazy. Yes, that's correct. That's exactly. IA, that because you don't know how many you own. IA that? I don't know what that means. I have around 60, and some people think that's a lot. Well, here you go. Look, 60 board games is a lot. That is a lot of games to have in a collection. It is. 50 is a lot. That's a lot of board games, especially if they look like, Twilight Imperium. Can you imagine having 50 Twilight Imperiums in your... I mean, come on. My thing is that I say there's 400. I could be woefully wrong, inaccurate, because I have a lot of games that are very small. And I could be supremely underestimating how many games I have, because I have a lot of games that are very small boxes. But yeah, 60 is a lot. 300 is like, are you crazy? Where do you put all this stuff? So I totally get it. One of the things that I'm really kind of been thinking about a lot lately is, not forgetting how our hobby looks to people that are not in the hobby. And it's refreshing in a way, because I force myself to kind of look at what I'm doing from the standpoint of that's not normal. if that makes any sense. So 60 games is a lot. And 400 is just like, wow. How do you eat? Do you keep your kids fed? How do you spend that much? And so usually what I have to do, like for example, when people come in here and see the sheer amount of games that I have to explain to them, now look, most of these games I have not purchased. They were given to me as review copies when I was doing this full-time for a living with the Dice Tower. And part of the perks of the Dice Tower was that I got to keep the games that I reviewed if they weren't going to be kept for the library. So that's one of the things that I do have to, because I do feel like I need to make sure people understand that we're just not, blowing our paychecks on these things, because you literally could. So, yeah. What kind of reaction does Jason receive when people find out about his collection? He usually doesn't talk about the size of his collection. Other people talk about the size of his collection. So he usually doesn't talk about that. He does. Now, I'm going to say this. Give me a few seconds to say it, though. He does like to toot his own horn, but usually when he toots his own horn, it's because he's so super excited about how cool it is, how cool he thinks it is that he's able to do this stuff. And so I think it's less from the aspect of puff out my chest and look what I've done, and more from I'm 5 years old and I get excited about everything kind of point of view. Not that he is, but that's how excitable he can be. And so he usually doesn't talk about the size of his own personal collection. Other people do, and he usually doesn't. So I wouldn't know. For some reason, I would have thought you had more games, Vanessa. Well, she does play games more. Jason used to have a storage unit. She did. He did. He did used to have a storage unit. Now he's got a pretty large house with a large garage, and his garage is climate controlled, and he keeps his game, and it looks like a warehouse in his garage. But that's what it is. I would like to, but I'm limited by space. Besides, my friends all have a ton of games too, so I don't need to own everything. And that's a great way to look at it, Vanessa. I need a goalie for this Thursday night. Can you play? No, I don't have my gear anymore. I do have skates, but I'm also not. I'm probably not close enough for Thursday night for you. Sorry. Technically, if you own a deck of cards, you have a ton of games. Well, that's true. If you own a 52 card deck of poker cards, you have an almost infinite number of games. So yeah, that's true. I used to buy every game I loved. Over the years, I have calmed down because I have a couple friends who are big gamers, so they buy a lot. I can just play their copies. I am actually quite happy with the size of my collection. And you should be, Vanessa. That's, I think, where a lot of people get into trouble in their purchasing habits. They look at what everybody else has. I did the same thing, but not about board games. I got over to Korea, and everybody was driving around nicer looking cars. I wanted my family of 4 to have a nice looking car, so I put myself into an incredible amount of debt to buy a minivan, brand new, because I thought I could afford it. And after a while, I realized that I couldn't. And I had my boss basically was a very gracious lady, and she offered to have the school buy my van off of me when we were moving away to another job, so that I didn't have to take that financial burden with me. And Mrs. Shim will be forever an angel in my eyes because of that, because that debt that I would have took with me would have been crippling in my new job. Not that I got paid that much less, it just would have been a hard pill to swallow. So I totally get that. But anyway, I think when people look at, when somebody talks about owning X number of games and so forth and all that kind of stuff, I think there are people out there that go, man, I wish I could do that. Wait a minute, I can do that. And they try to own those games and they try to own everything they want to own, and it just doesn't work out well for them. And that's where FOMO comes from, at least in part. You don't want to miss out on any of the new games, so you got to buy them all. No, you really don't. Me and JT kind of try to have a little bit of a conversation before we more on my side than his. He backs a lot more Kickstarters than I do, so I usually ask him if he's going to back something, and if not, I'll back it, and then he'll ask me sometimes, are you going to back this? And I tell him I am, and then he won't, because if one of us has a game, we live right across the river from each other, and we don't need to buy all the games, but we still do buy a lot. But that doesn't mean that everybody should, Be happy with your size with the size of your collection, Vanessa. Absolutely. I can remember when I got into the hobby, I bought a lot of games. I don't buy as many anymore. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. You get what you want, and then you've got what you want, and now the other stuff that's coming out, yeah, it'd be nice, but I don't need it anymore because I like it. Jason does get excited. He absolutely does. I think that is most people's journey. They buy a lot early and then calm down. Vanessa says she loves Jason's enthusiasm. It reminds me of myself when I get excited. Well, that's the thing. I think if we're honest with ourselves, that's how everybody gets. It's just some of us think that, excuse me, some of us think that growing up means that we need to harbor our feelings of excitement. I don't know that that's actually true. I am not necessarily an outgoing type. I do have my stoic leanings, if I can put it that way. When I'm enjoying a game, and I used to run into this a lot with the Dice Tower, my face does not communicate that I'm enjoying myself. It looks like I'm grumpy, or it looks like I'm not having fun, or what have you, and that fed a lot of people's perceptions of what kind of person I was. When in reality, I was absolutely enjoying myself. I was having a great time. I was just thinking, trying to understand. I'm making the face. That's the way Jesse says it. And so, it is what it is. But I've never been really one to show enthusiasm in a number of different ways. If I'm at a hockey game and my team scores, then yeah, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to ring that cowbell. But or if the refs are skating around blindfolded, then yeah, I'm going to maybe say something about that too. But kind of get the idea. Jason is fun to be around when he is excited. Absolutely. And numerous magic card tricks too. That's true too. Just paddle over and play his copy. Yeah. When you back Kickstarter, do you tend to get the upgraded components? Not always. That's the best way to say it. No, not always. I don't always get those. There will be times where I do. I just backed the Carnival of Chaos Kickstarter for Thunder Road Vendetta. And I got the Maximum Chrome Edition, so I actually got something to replace the base copy that I own of Thunder Road Vendetta. And so, but yeah, I did get all the bits for it. But I pick and choose those things. For example, when Stone Spine Architects came in, I don't think it had, super deluxe components or anything. It did offer the plushie, and I got the plushie for Jess, but I probably wouldn't have if Jess didn't want it. So no, I don't always get the cool stuff, but certain games like Dune Warfare Arrakis, I went all in. Because I was pretty sure I was going to like that game. Love the theme. And I'm pretty sure, having loved, having liked War for the Ring, I was pretty sure I was going to like doing War for Arrakis as well. So I don't always, but I do pick and choose. Jesse is a great compliment to you then. Well, she absolutely is. She absolutely is. And I love her a lot. And there's nothing, it's one of those things that, both of us are kind of at that spot in our lives where, a little bit over 4 years ago, we were at the point where we were very much resolved that we were going to be alone for the rest of our lives. We just didn't think that we had anything left in that tank, if that makes any sense. And then we both firmly believe the Lord brought us together December of 2020, and for a very specific reason. And we were both very well convinced very shortly after that there was much more longevity in that relationship than we originally thought there could have been. So she is very much a compliment. Very much, in many ways, she is my superior. And I love her dearly, and I hope that I can do a better job today than I did yesterday of showing her that. Leslie, all right, have a good one. See you, pal. Have a great day. So I am unashamed, and I guess this is where I want to pull in one of the things. JT, as a matter of fact, at the very top of the comments went unashamed ? And I said it was just going to be a talking point. And this is something that I've been thinking about lately for quite some time. But a couple of sermons here the last couple of weeks have really kind of brought it to the forefront that I needed to say what I'm about to say. And I absolutely don't want anyone to think that I have changed at all. I just feel like I need to say this. And what I feel like I need to say is that I am unashamedly a Christian. I do not have any feelings of shame whatsoever for saying that I'm a Christian. And I don't know why I felt like I needed to say that, but I feel like I do. And I do want to say also that if that raises any questions in your mind, I want you to absolutely feel the freedom to email me and talk to me about it. Because I am very much a Christian. I am also very much, I want to be as approachable as I possibly can about anything and everything. And I hope that I've been clear about that. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I feel like I needed to or wanted to say this, because I don't ever want anybody to feel like they got the wool pulled over their eyes. And, shock. Sam's a Christian? I never want anybody to feel that way. Never. Now, I also want to say that one of the things that I am ashamed about is how some Christians act. And I don't mean to say that in a very derogatory sense towards my fellow Christians. I do not mean to do that at all. But I'm just providing a line of delineation between I am not ashamed to be a Christian, but I am ashamed at how some Christians act. And that's why I want to leave the door open for anybody to ask me questions. Talk to me about that by email or whatever you'd like. It really depends, because Facebook Messenger, whatever. I can use almost any of those and be comfortable with them. So that is where Jess and I are. And but that's not going to change. Stop it. That was my dog. When he starts licking things, and nothing bad, it was his foot, I think. He makes a lot of slurping noises, and they're very disheartening. I don't want them to come over the mic. Anyway, what was I saying? Mike, well, I suppose I arrived at a great time. Well. Did you back Simon's Game of Thrones? No, I did not. There are bad representatives for every group. That is absolutely correct. And those are the things that I am a figures. Dinner is ready at a bad time. I'll watch this later. All right, that's cool, Vanessa. You have go enjoy your dinner. So the thing is that I'm very transparent, and I want to be very transparent about my faith and where I am. And it probably means that I might disagree with you on some things, and that you might disagree with me on some things. But I'm firmly of the belief that that doesn't mean that we can't be friends and that we can't be friendly with each other. I firmly believe that regardless of disagreements, that people can still converse with one another and can still treat each other with respect and can still love each other. And that's one of the things that we are so passionate about here on the Flipside, is that we want to grow community, and being part of our community is not hinged upon anything other than your willingness to be part of the group. Will we agree on everything? Probably not. But that does not mean that we cannot be civil, loving, and friendly. And so I really don't. This is a strange thing, because usually when I say something like this, it's for a definite reason, and I can't put my finger on it right now. So I do apologize for that. I usually try to be a very much more purposeful in what I say than I'm being right now, and I apologize for that. But I do still believe that the level of transparency that I'm trying to reach right now is important. So if you might have questions about anything, please feel free. I'll put the email in the comment section, the chat comment, the live comments at least. FlipsideOBG@gmail.com. And I will absolutely be willing to talk with you about anything. Let's see here. I think when you, let's see, Well said. Well, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Bushman, what I really appreciate, you don't overly preach at your audience about your personal spirituality or judge. Well, again, that's a part of what that's a part of what I believe it is to be a Christian. My grandpa, who is one of the best Christians I've ever known, I just talked to him today. I miss him dearly. I wish I could. Sorry. Wish I could spend more time with him, because I don't think he has a whole lot more time left. But he's always been one of the biggest examples of what it meant to be a believer in Christ in my life. And one of the reasons why is because you always knew exactly where he stood on almost any issue, because you knew he was going to go straight to the Word of God. And you knew that. You didn't have to ask him. But the thing that made it such an overwhelming example for me was that he would not browbeat you with anything. He always graciously and mercifully waited for you to come talk to him about what he thought. He would never push it on you. Never. And it's really funny because my grandmother, who passed a long time ago, was very much very much the other side of that coin. Opposites attract, in my opinion, were grandma and grandpa. And but she still had that thread of love, but it was tough love. But my grandpa has always been that example of grace in the lives of other people. And I want to be that for other people. I don't want to be that person that is quick to bring the hammer down. I want to be that person that is giving people the benefit of the doubt even when they probably don't deserve it. I want to be that person that that desires the best for people, even if they don't believe, even if they don't agree with what you know is the best for them. I still want to live a life of compassion, even for people that probably don't give a rat's rear end on whether I love them or not. And I've actually kind of been confronted with this a lot because I've had people tell me on comments and whatnot, you know, why do you talk such good about these people over here? They're your enemies. Why do you talk so highly about those people? They don't like you. And I'm like, that's not how it's supposed to go. It really isn't. You don't talk good about somebody just because they like you or because you think they like you. If it's true, it's true. If a game's good, I don't care who made it. I don't care what their political belief. I don't care what their religious beliefs are. If a game's good, it's good. I'm going to talk about it that way. Anyway, I don't know why I was. I don't know why I felt the need to say all this, but I guess it's better that it's there. I think when you get together at the board game table, it doesn't matter what people's backgrounds are, as long as everyone is respectful. That is correct. My impression has always been that being religious in the U.S. means something entirely different to how we look at it here in Europe. Well, I think there probably is. There probably is a lot of difference there, and I mean, goodness, just look at the differences in history. Not that it's that widely different, but there's a lot more of religion in your history, and I do mean the word religion specifically because I think religion and I think there's differences to the words religion, spirituality, and being a Christ follower. I think there's differences there. Some of it might be nuanced, but I think there's still differences there. But I would agree with that. One of my best friends was studying to be a pastor priest. He never pushed anything, but his foundations for thinking and everyday good sense philosophy were incredible. Well, I appreciate you saying that, and not for myself. I appreciate you seeing that on your friend's behalf. So that's cool. I tried that, Addie, and never got response. Addie? Oh, address. Never got a response. Oh, I have read I have read your email. I just haven't responded to you yet. I apologize. I did see it. I have read it. It is the correct address. Yes, I did see it. I will respond as soon as I get done here. What, Strider? What? Mwah. I see you too. Yes. Let's see here. Just being a good model is enough to evangelize an ideal religion, whatever. Some messages you shared, Sam, right after the break in your life, if I'm fair to call it that, it was a divorce. Yeah, it was definitely a break. Really resonated with me, even though I was not living through that, and you were only a BG reviewer. That's correct. Not humankind's place to judge. Okay, thank you. Yes, that's correct. Let's see. Just being a good model is enough to evangelize ideal religion, whatever. I agree with that. One of the things that our pastor shared last week, yesterday, not last week, is a video that was put up by Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller, and it's a remarkable video for everybody to watch, quite frankly, because I think it gives a little bit of insight from an atheist's point of view into why some Christians, not all, proselytize. From my point of view, it is not to simply push a set of rules or a specific mindset or anything like that. It's because there is a genuine love in the heart of that person for the other person. The analogy that Penn Jillette uses is that if you knew I was going to get hit by a bus, or at least you believed that I was about to get hit by a bus, how much hate would you have to harbor in your heart for me? And I'm not using the same words, but using the same idea, the general idea. How much would you hate me to not tell me about that? And I think that provides a modicum of insight into, in my experience at least, why I would tell somebody about something like that, why I would invite somebody to church. That provides a little bit of an insight why. And so, I don't know, if you can probably find that video pretty easily if you wish. It's a great watch. I don't think it's a very long video either. I have seen it before. I haven't watched it since. My pastor just brought it up and used it as a anecdotal example in his sermon on yesterday, and I just thought it was interesting. It's one of the reasons why I've wanted to go and I've wanted to be associated with Love Thy Nerd so much. And I even thought I even was going to wear their shirt today, but I said that'd be too cheesy. Because they are very much of the mindset that, look, we're not going to thump you over the head with the Bible. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We are going to simply work our butts off for you at your booth, and that's going to be our testimony. That's how we're going to love you. We're going to love you with our hands. We're going to love you with our feet. We're going to love you with our actions and how well we represent you and your product. And that's going to be our testimony. And I love that. I love that because it breaks down barriers. It really does. I've seen it happen, and I've heard story of it happening. So there you go. And here I thought unashamed meant that you were terrible at board games. I'm unashamed about that too, Bushman. I am terrible at board games, and I'm proud of it. There you go, pal. I even bought a Starbucks mug There, I'm unashamed. This one, I bought that. I saw this at the Starbucks in the Rio. And it says, proudly serving those who serve. And it's a little military, type thing. And I liked the color. And I liked the fact that it was honoring those who serve. So that's why I bought it. I usually don't buy stuff from Starbucks. I usually don't even buy Starbucks coffee. But when it's the only thing that's there, Strider, it's the only thing that's there. Mwah. Yes, I know. I suppose part of my journey is still ahead with regards to faith at its purest, and the structure that I have met and seen I have not found comforting enough to become a part of. But we missed the Bears Cup. The Bears Cup is just being washed right now. That's why it's not there. As for being friends thing, Z and you randomly singing, "Why can't we be friends?" That's true. That's absolutely fun. I do want to, that email address is for you too, Mike. If you want to talk about any of that kind of stuff, the door is always open. Even if it's just to be a sounding board, to pick my brain and see what I think about it, whatever. I do understand that the climate right now is not ripe for discussion in the town square, if I can put it that way. But that doesn't mean that we as individuals cannot have those conversations together. So absolutely, doors always open. I will respond, just like I'm going to respond to Bushman here in a little bit. When you email, if you email, you don't have to, of course. Why are you looking at me like that? You want to go out? Is that what you're saying? You want to go out? That's funny. Let's see. Tomorrow we have our It Belongs in a Museum series is continuing with episode 4, I believe. I don't know what games I'll pull out, but I'll choose a couple of games to pull down and we'll talk about them in the morning. That will be around 10 a.m. Pacific time, so about 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then tomorrow afternoon, probably at about 1 or 2 p.m., probably, it'll be 1 or 2 p.m., probably 2 p.m., I would imagine, but it might be either one. No need to say I've got my answer. Oh, okay, it was just a test. You were just seeing if it worked. Got it. I'm still going to answer you. I'm still going to respond. So that'll be tomorrow. Jess and I are going to play something. I don't know what yet. On Wednesday, we're going to do a live review of AI Apocalypse. AI Apocalypse. It's a prototype card game that I was sent by some friends in Germany. And they're going to be running a Kickstarter starting next week, and they wanted me to review it. This is not going to be a preview. They have not given me any money. This is not paid anything. They just sent me a review copy of the game so that I could review it. And they have a Kickstarter campaign going up next week for that. So, no, I'm sorry. It's this week. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow. I was in last week's mindset there for a few seconds. Sorry. They have it's going up tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Anyway, I'll be doing a review of that on Wednesday. I don't know what my review on the Dice Tower is going to be on Wednesday, though, but I'm going to get that figured out here when we get done and get that shot tomorrow and edited tomorrow and then posted on Wednesday. Let's see here. Appreciate you, Sam. Luckily for us, we do not share the same climate in that regard as much. 10,000 kilometers helps in that regards. That's true. The Butlerian Jihad, followed by your new game, your new Dune game. Did you say your grandpa was a great mentor for you? Yes, he absolutely was. Still is. Um, Absolutely was. And part of the reason for that is it's not to overstep or anything like that. My dad was always there, but my mom was in and out of the hospital. She had lupus when I was a kid, and lupus is a disease that attacks your kidneys, and it renders them ineffective. And your kidneys are kind of like your processing, your cleaning plant for your bodies. And so when your kidneys stop working, all of the bad stuff that's usually cycled out of your blood and that kind of stuff stays in your body, and then your body shuts down. So she needed a kidney transplant, and the doctors back then gave her a 50-50 chance that either her or her sister, who was a viable candidate for a kidney, would die in the process of the operation. And my mom said, nope, not going to subject you or anybody else to that. So she turned down the kidney transplant, and just battled it out as long as she could with dialysis and all of that kind of stuff. And she died when I was 10. And my dad was there through it all. But my dad was also part of the military. He was in the U.S. Air Force, and he had his job that he had to go to, and he took as much time off as he possibly could, but he just couldn't be there all the time. So when he couldn't be there, I was at my grandparents' house in Texas. And that's why my grandpa was such a mentor to me. It's because when my dad wasn't there, my grandpa stepped up and was very much the role model that I needed. So I was very blessed in that I had two great role models, my dad and my grandpa, to kind of follow. So I'm very much appreciative of both of their influence in my life. But yes, my grandpa was very much a mentor, and he still is. Lupus, no fun. Yes, fortunately you didn't get it. That is correct. Sorry to hear that. Yep. Well, it's yes, that's a very early age. But I did know my mom. I got to know my mom, and she is in a much, much better place now. She has no more pain. She has no more ailments. She has no more any of that stuff. She is with her Lord and Savior. And I honestly and truthfully believe that. I'm not saying that as a show or anything like that. And that's how I'm able to live in the knowledge that she's not here anymore. On top of that, my stepmom, my second stepmom, I did have one that was right after my mom died that my dad unfortunately was not able to work things out with, and they got divorced. But after that, he married a lady that has been my mom ever since. She's actually been my mom longer than my real mom was my mom. Don't you hate all those words? And I call her mom very much on purpose, because she, in every right, deserves to be called my mom. She loved me just as much as my mom did, I think, and I'm not hers. I was somebody else's. But she's now struggling with early onset Alzheimer's, and she's very much not the person that she used to be. And my dad's taking care of her to the best of his ability, and my And that's a little bit of a difficult spot. But I am who I am today because of what has happened in my past. And some of the spots have been rough, but it's, it's kind of like when you're smithing a sword, you've got to put it through heat. And if it's going to be a good sword, it has to go through more heat, and it has to be pounded on, and it has to be shaped and molded. And so all of that works together for good, ultimately. And I don't regret that any of it happened now. That doesn't mean that I haven't struggled with the fact that she died when I was 10. I absolutely have, and it's left a hole. But it is very much my grandma used to say it this way: he's still working on me to make me the way he wants me to be. And that's absolutely true. So I've not arrived, and I won't arrive until I am elsewhere. But it is what it is. From what I heard, he sounds like the type of guy we need more of. We absolutely need more of my grandfathers. That is absolutely true. I mean it, and the fact that he has touched you in such a positive way means he has already done the work of God. Amazing. Thank you for that, Al. I appreciate that. My grandpa was sort of my father figure too. He was the stable male role model in my childhood. All the best to you all. We are closing on midnight here, so signing off. Take care. See you later, Mike. Sleep well. Have a good one. Wow, it's midnight. Thank you for being here, Mike. Boom, boom. I think we are pretty much done. Skip ads. Don't need ads. All right, well, we're going to get out of here because it's been almost 2 hours. So we're going to go ahead and clear on out. I do need to get some stuff going. I need to get that video uploaded. I need to schedule the 2 lives for tomorrow. So I need to get those things done before I sign off for the end of the day here. But I wanted to say thank you for joining me. I want to say thank you for being here. I don't care what your background is. You're welcome. And you always have a spot here on the Flipside. So hopefully that carries through. Loving the top 10s with JT, by the way. I'm enjoying making them. It's great. Going through games like that is one of the ways that you can really learn about your gaming friends, what they really have enjoyed in the past, what they really enjoy now, and it kind of explains a little bit why they enjoy what they do now when you take a look back at their history. So we've certainly been enjoying our time recording these top 5s and top 10s for you. It's been a blast. So we're very happy to continue doing that as well. You're welcome, Mormon. I appreciate that. Mormon. You two have a fun chemistry. It's never as fun as with someone just sitting alone reading their own list all wrote. That's true. That is true. But I have not yet done his daughter's top 10, but I'm looking forward to doing that just to get a little bit more insight on the kind of impact that he's had on her and vice versa and all that kind of stuff. Bushman says, I have no background. I was hatched. Weren't we all? We were all hatched in some birthery. That's not the correct word for it. In some hatchery. There you go. Yeah. So we're going to get on out of here. Thank you for joining me. I certainly appreciate it. We are going to be here tomorrow for It belongs in a museum, and Jess and I will do a live stream for a 2-player game tomorrow afternoon. And if I can get this one uploaded, I'll probably put this top 5 games we never played for no good reason from the Dice Tower West. We'll put that up tomorrow afternoon. Probably, I'm going to say around the neighborhood of about 11:30 my time, so that it will be in between the 2 live streams, so that I won't be competing with myself. All right, cue horror scene from Brave New World. I don't know what that is. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.